And hey, America. So I'm American. And
I'll ring you back.
I was talking with these guys and I said, look, the US is really doing this in a big way.
Bye.
A lot of people aren't aware of that. The People's Convoy in Hagerstown. Look it up, the People's Convoy in Hagerstown. Okay. Just today I had calls from Arizona. And they're saying, hey, we've got 14 states that are doing these convoys that are coming online in the US. The US is getting this in a massive way. The Netherlands is coming on board. The UK is coming on board. The thing is spreading across the world, and it's not to fight authority, it's to say we love freedom. Yeah. And all that is for freedom, right? Freedom of choice. And they tell us it's my body, it's my choice when it suits them. But we're saying, no, it's our body to choose what we want to do with ourselves any day of the week. And we love America. We got a sign here we had made, because I'm American, right? So you Aussies all know. I know some of the Aussies have this thing with the Americans, like, the Americans. But you know what? We follow America, whether we like it or not. America locked down first, and the rest of the world followed.
But they lied.
Well, whatever your opinions are on that, there's some good things that are in that too, but it's the loss of freedom that we're here for. America represents freedom. America is a free country that represents freedom to the whole world, and whether people like it or not, they've fought fights for freedom. We're all about freedom. I'm here for freedom. That's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, come on.
On the mandates, we all have different opinions on mandates. We all have different opinions on everything that's going on. But that's the beauty of freedom. We're allowed to have different opinions. So just because you're vaccinated and I'm not, or I'm vaccinated and you're not, doesn't mean I love you or I hate you, does it? How many families here in Australia have been divided over vaccines, over mandates? You know what? In freedom, we don't need division. We need love. That's why we're here. We love you, America. Yeah, I love you. I spent 18 years of my life there and here.
Bring back Trumpy!
But again, if we have the freedom. America has the freedom to love Trump or to hate Trump. It's all about freedom. And there's not a person listening to us that doesn't love freedom. Yes, there's a lot of different diverse views in this group. And you know what I love about that? It's freedom. I've spent the time to meet some of you folks, and some of you think nothing like I think. Some of you look nothing like I look. Some of you talk nothing like I talk. But you're here today because of freedom. And I want to thank you guys for coming out. Because why? Because you love freedom. And you know full well that America has a big clout on freedom. What happens in America? What is it they say? America sneezes and we catch the cold. When America sneezes, Australia and New Zealand get the cold. They sneeze, we all got the cold here. But I tell you what, we all got free of it. It's freedom. So have a look online. Have a look, and you'll see Hagerstown exploding. The vision in there, phenomenal of people. The highways, millions of people lining the highways, you know, and waving flags. The mainstream media will never put it on.
Same as Australia.
Same as Australia. But you go on your social media and you look, and you will see it. Truckloads of goods being given. Massive amounts of money, same as Australia. There's vision of whole towns in Queensland coming out as the convoys came through. Now everybody complained about how many people were at the protest in Australia. I don't like the word protest. It's not a protest. It's a rally for freedom.
Freedom!
And I tell you what, you know, the media says 10,000. Some of us folks, you know, get very creative with numbers too, you know. Kind of like you're paying your taxes, but going the other way. You get creative. Oh, we got 1 million there. We had 2 million there. You know what? Let's go with Google. Google has a little program I saw. You put a box around a crowd, and it tells you how many people are roughly in that crowd. And that came in at 263,000 people on Google. All right? That's nobody putting their spin on it. That's Google. Not that Google's the ultimate authority, but, you know.
Well, guys, you've got to remember that was the box in the pink. That we in Australia, we don't stand in the sun for very long because we're not stupid. And there was trees on either side of those properties, and the property under those trees were vastly larger than that particular field.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now that the information that came out was that there was more people under the trees on either side, and I was there. And I stood at a 3-lane bridge 3 lanes each direction. I stood there for 3 hours, and it was non-stop people for 3 hours.
You've got to stop the
well, let's forget that. We're here for freedom. That's important. I'm not saying that now. That's important. But here today, I just want to give that message. Can we give 3 cheers to the People's Convoy in America? The People's Convoys that are standing for freedom with us. So let's do it. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray! And we want to say thank you, People's Convoy, Hagerstown. Brian Brazy, who organised that, is running with it. Thank you. Thank you. We're with you. We love you. I know New Zealand's with you. You should see the messages coming out of New Zealand. They're saying we love you. You know, people were saying, like, the other day, yelling at our police officers, and I'm like, we're not about that. This is like a rugby game. If you yell at the people on the other team, you're not going to win the game. We're not here to abuse somebody else. They have the freedom to be what they are, and I respect them and love the guys, that they are an authority and they represent something that stops chaos. So I want to thank you guys for that. I want to thank the American security, probably the Marines and that are in there. We love you guys. You stand for freedom. You brought us the freedom to have this freedom. But we don't yell at people on the opposing team and say, oh, you're no good. Because you know what? There's a coach that runs the game. We're not picking on coaches either, but we're here to say freedom. You're free to be who you are. We're free to be who we are. Thank you very much for allowing that freedom. Thank you that we can be here today and say this, because we're in a country that's paid a price for that freedom, right? Our Anzacs. How many of our Anzacs died so we can stand here today? Thousands. And I want to honour those people, the men and women that have given up their lives, the families that were shattered to bring freedom in the US as well. So I'm going to get back to Phil because he's great, but I just wanted to say that for America. We love you. Thank you. Right, guys.
Well done, Scott.
I think that was an excellent statement. That was excellent. And a lot of people realise that we're fighting this freedom fight worldwide. Worldwide. It's not just here. It's not just America. It's not just New Zealand. It's not just Canada. It is literally worldwide. So I would like to take the opportunity, like our friend here said, to thank the people who have fallen for our freedoms with 2 minutes silence. And anybody wearing a hat would be requested to take that hat off unless they have served and are returned servicemen. And I'm going to start that in a second. Rightio, guys. Hats off. 2 minutes silence, please, starting now. Thank you very much, people. Not everybody respected that 2 minute silence for our fallen soldiers. Bit of a shame. because we are respecting the soldiers that didn't return, the ones that did return, and the ones that are serving at the moment. When we say soldiers, we mean everybody that's servicing this country in a professional way. Thank you for the people who did respect that silence. It's a shame to the people that didn't. And like I said, they fought hard for our freedoms to speech, our freedoms for our rights to speech. And the police officers that are servicing this community at the moment give us that freedoms as well. So I think the police officers deserve a round of applause for allowing us to protest and serving the community as strong as they do. They're impartial, so they serve as per they should, impartially, regardless of what their opinion on this particular subject is, which is great. That's the way it should be. Again, it's a time for the US government to step up to the plate and tell the Australian government that they made a mistake. They followed the wrong order. They followed the wrong rules. They suppressed their own people incorrectly. They're now assisting in suppressing Australia, New Zealand, Canada and multiple other countries with the information that they are misleading other governments with. Our government needs to step up and evaluate the information for themselves and go, we made a mistake, we were incorrect. The Australian people are here in droves and numbers. This is just an absolute fraction of the community that are here now voicing their concerns. Every one of these people knows 1,000 people at home that knows the same thing and that believes the same thing. These rallies are everywhere in Australia every day. Thank you, Australians. Thank you, New Zealanders. Thank you, everybody who's stepping up. Thank the US people who are stepping up. We support you. You support us. Thank you very much. Can someone else have a speak?
Listen, I'd like to just say something for Stand in the Park down in Victoria. Basically, we've actually grown a bit of a platform down there with people that aren't mandating this stuff. We've got people that are in blue here working with us that have been stood down. And I basically want to mention it to everyone, what we can actually do. If you've lost a loved one to this so-called vaccination and you're the next of kin and you basically think it's an adverse reaction, basically you have got the capability of asking for an independent pathologist to basically stand in on an autopsy. Now, this is going to keep the government clean when it comes to autopsies. So what I'm saying is everyone is capable of basically standing and basically doing their little part here, and that's if you're next to king, ask the question that I want an independent pathologist to stand in on that autopsy to basically let us know what that person legally died of. Not hidden, but legally died of. And all I stand is for freedom, and everyone, Stand in the Park on weekends is going viral. Get there. Stand in the Park and start to put a platform up, and it's going to go that you've all got a platform that we can get on and we can support one another. So all I stand is for freedom. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're stopping the jab. There is no emergency. We've got to stop the jab. There is no emergency. Stop the jab. There is no emergency. Let's stop
the jab. There is no emergency. Stop the jab. There is no emergency. Stop the jab. There is no emergency. Stop the jab. There is no emergency.
Let's stop the jab. There is no emergency.
And just a reminder, guys, we're not political. It's about freedom.
They have not poisoned your food, the water, and the air you breathe. Now they are mandating on you and your children the poison in the electric fires. You do not need to take the risk. Do not need to your feet.
Listen.
You'll have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. Just remember,
Are we on still?
Yeah.
Say hi to America. A bit like wrap up.
Americans for support with you guys. That's what we're doing.
Want to go a bit down for a bit?
Zoom. Yeah, just so we can hear, eh?
So we
So-
can hear. We'll come down this way a bit. And
How do I zoom it out? The back one?
back.
Okay.
Let's stand in the shade here. Put the police car in the back down there.
Yep.
It's not my handbag, by the way.
Come on,
Melissa,
mate. Come on, mate.
What do you have to say to the US? I mean, we're introducing Melissa, right? If you're coming on late,
Unofficially.
unofficially, Melissa Gelonese. And,
Gelonese to
Gelonese,
you.
sorry. I said it. And she wanted to say, give a shout out to the truckers there and the guys.
Oh,
and
definitely
just-
joining forces with you all, you know, for support. As I said earlier, it's a collective force that we're creating. You know, this is global. It is a fight for our freedom. You know, it's not a blasé movement. It's something that concerns everybody. And when we're talking about freedom of choice, it's everything, really. And we're talking about, you know, our kids, and we're also talking about something that our ancestors have fought hard for. We shouldn't be in this position where we're having to do a redo of history, and here we are, you know. So yeah, I just all support to the Americans who are doing what they're doing. You know, the truckies over there.
What have you seen in the attitudes of people here? Isn't there so much fear that
Honestly,
stops them? What would you say about that?
Honestly, I'm from the Gold Coast. Some of you won't know where that's from, north of Australia. But I used to live in Canberra, and after we did the convoys, the big one here particularly a few weeks ago, I've noticed a massive change in people's attitudes here. It's quite toxic, and you know, yeah, people's attitudes have definitely changed, particularly to those who are fighting for freedom. And I'm a bit unsure as to where the confusion is there with the people, a lot of the people in Canberra, not all. But you know, we're here fighting for their freedom. We're here fighting for everyone's freedom.
You don't appreciate it till you lose it.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the thing. I think what people don't understand is there's a lot of people who have lost their jobs and therefore lost their stability. You know, they're trying to put food on the table for their kids and whatnot, and because of a medical choice that they have made, it's affecting you know, their stability in life. This is something that shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be. We all should have freedom of choice when it comes to, particularly when it comes to medical choices and what we put in our bodies.
And what would you say to the truckers and just the everyday guys in caravans and cars and waving flags on bridges? But I know in Hagerstown they've had a lot of, like, they can't get into Washington DC.
Yeah.
For those ones that are feeling a bit like tired, a little bit
Yeah.
discouraged, what would you say
I
to
would
them?
say definitely there's the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's so hard to see that light when you're going through that, you know, those extremes. But I also want to say to them as well, we look on. We're looking on at that footage.
Yeah.
That's spurring us on here, you know. Just like they were here, the truckies, they're the backbone and the heartbeat to what's going on. You know, we can all join this movement and get going and follow suit. But it's those men and women who are the backbone of these movements and really creating movement within the movement, so to speak.
Don't get tired, right?
Yeah,
Because if you get
please,
tired, it's
yes.
a case of you lose freedom. And you guys
Yeah.
in the States, you know that. You guys are an inspiration to the world because you fought for our freedom.
Yeah.
We're free from Japan because back in the Second World War because the US came in.
Yeah. I guess it's easy to sort of, you know, with everything that's going on and we're fighting for so many things, you know, there's legislation trying to come in, we're fighting that every day. There's distractions every day from the government trying to make us look this way so that they're, you know, doing magic tricks this way. We all know what's going on there. But I think the thing with us all is we have to make sure that we're not getting distracted, and that we're keeping on the
Focus
strength,
on freedom.
focusing on what that big thing is. That's one solid goal.
It's that freedom that gives us the freedom to have all the varied opinions on everything else.
Right. At the end of the day, we're all people. We can all have our individual opinions on, this should be happening this way. We should be focusing on floods, or, the vaccination status. I don't know if I should be saying that.
That's
but,
right.
at the end of the day, it's freedom of choice, isn't it? We're humans. We're born with that. And, that should never be taken away from us. That's how we're born, and that's how it should be.
So now Melissa spent a year in Vegas. She put some shows on there in Vegas, right? And her hat comes from the good old US of A. So she said when I invited her to come on, she said, I'm going to wear that hat that's from America. The truckers are going to love that hat. So truckers that watch this, if you love the hat, send a message about the hat. I know it's a bigger issue than a hat here, but we'll have a bit of fun too, right?
Yeah, this is from good old Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas,
yeah,
huh?
Right before everything happened with good old COVID. We were over there in the States then, and we were also over there in 2006 producing shows in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I've got a real affiliation and a soft spot for
America.
The US, definitely. Got a lot of friends there too who, a lot have been, greatly affected by all this too.
So I'm a dual citizen. I was born here in Australia. I went to the US. I am lucky. Lucky country and lucky America. But you know what America taught me? The thing I always loved about America was they would stand up when they got upset about something and speak. And when they speak, everybody listens.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't take metric. I mean, you stood up, pushed back on metric and didn't get it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to freedom, people are shutting up. What's more important here, metric or freedom?
I do love that, and we did speak about that earlier. I do love that about the American people. I've got a few friends, as I said, some actually living in Australia, and they're very, forthcoming with their opinions.
Yes.
Australians are a little bit more blasé, but I tell you what, once we get going and you're pushing those buttons, we do kick into. So as I said, I feel like looking over at what's happening in the States is really giving us the push sometimes that we need to keep going.
And we want to give a shout out to New Zealand in this too, because guys, we're being a voice for you as well. That Global Freedom Movement USA New Zealand site. Go on there and join that group, and you'll get all the updates and things that are going on. I know currently, as I said, we were talking to Arizona this morning, and there's like 14 states that are gearing up to do this, and we've asked them to put the event notifications on that Global Freedom Movement USA site, and then just get behind it. But the ones in New Zealand, we want to just say we love you. You're our brothers. We're a voice for you as well, because when America gets free, Australia gets free, New Zealand's going to follow too. Don't get tired. Don't give up. Freedom's not worth getting tired over, is it?
We've got to keep going. And as I said, collectively.
Collectively, I like that. There's the word for today.
We walk together.
Collectively.
We walk together, we win together, and that's how it's going to be, I think.
So we were driving in the car, and Melissa says, I think this is a collective effort. And then it was like an hour later, she says, what was that word I used? And I was like, I don't know, was it co-join? And then just before we came live, we were having a conversation, and she just randomly used the word collective. She goes, that's the word, there it is again.
But isn't it though, with this, when you're considering this, isn't it really a flow-on effect with what's going on here? When the powers that be get away with certain decisions, that is in turn affecting what happens ongoing with other places, other countries. In Queensland, I went to a rally last week. We're still trying to fight the legislation that's trying to be passed to continue the state of emergency. There is no state of emergency. We all know that. But these are the little things that we're fighting, and I feel like oftentimes they're the distractions that are put in place.
Distractions that we're not looking for freedom.
Another thing, so we're taken away from the big issue, the really big issue. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, united we stand, divided we fall, and that's an American thing.
Yeah.
And we are speaking that here, and that's what happens when we get off on, vaccine, no vaccine, or lockdown, if we get on all the issues, it's like dealing with a fruit tree and pulling an apple off and saying, if I pull that apple off, I'll fix the tree.
Yeah.
You got to get to the root, and the root is we want freedom. And when we have freedom, all that fruit will just fall off the tree. But we got to cut the root, and the root is freedom. Give us freedom, lest we die. And I love the slogan of New Hampshire. That I lived in Boston for a bunch of years. On the tag there in New Hampshire, all you Americans, say it with me: live free or die. We want to live free.
Yeah, 100%. I think what you said is really potent too, with the division of people. They're relying on that, elites. Powers. They're relying on the fact that and they know human nature. If they can create division amongst us, again, it's distraction. And we're fighting each other rather than fighting for each other and for one another.
Yeah. She's right. You're right.
Of course I am.
She's a woman. She's always right.
Yeah.
Except for when we tell you you're not.
You wouldn't want it.
Hey, any final words? We'll wrap up with you guys. And,
oh, look, I just really, again, I've said it, but I really just want to say thank you for the support, the ongoing support. We're here for you guys too, in full support. We're all doing it together. I hate the slogan, but we are in this together. Yeah. I'll steal it.
Yeah, steal it, yeah.
But we're in this together, the people that know what's going on. Our job is to, with love and with kindness, try and wake people up as best we can so that they can see what's going on too. Yeah.
So now, thanks Melissa, but I'm going to say Melissa should be back on the weekend, and we're going to do another live feed with it, but at one of the rallies that will be here. My apologies on the microphones. We had a